next right onto Causeway, A312. Continue on A312 for 1 mile.
his fame, he just ran away with him. He must have totally lost it. We don't know the dynamics of their relationship. We don't really care about the dynamics of their relationship. It's the fact that it was played out on this global stage that's just so unseemly. And by the way, I thought at the time, Will Smith surely could simply have got up from his seat and walked out. That would have been a dignified response.
Yes, definitely. I suppose from my perspective, I think, I mean, again, it's very difficult because you don't want to kind of compare apples and oranges, but obviously you have like the deaf cast of Coda there, and I felt that if someone had made a joke about, you know, the fact that they were deaf, or you know, if somebody had made that sort of unacceptable joke, I think a walkout, you know, as my mother often says, silence is accurate. It's a very, very dignified way to do things.
Quick question, should he resign? Should he have resigned his membership? I suspect your answer is yes.
Yeah, I think that's kind of about right.
And should he return his award?
No, because it's not like he cheated in the acting to win the award.
Fine.
But yeah.
In a quarter of a mile, at Wagoners Roundabout, take the second exit onto the Parkway, A312.
It's very complicated, and we have to be careful with selective outrage.
Layla Latif, freelance writer there, broadcaster and film critic, thank you so much for kicking off this discussion and for the power of your words, notwithstanding, I'm afraid, how I feel about what Will Smith did and how let down I feel on behalf of so many millions of people who I suspect feel the same thing. In this hour then, I'm asking if Will Smith's actions at the Oscars awards ceremony were acceptable. Is violence ever the answer? I know there'll be a range of opinions. Please call me on 0345 6060 974. I'll take a call straight after the break. Listening to David Lammy here on LBC, and the time now is 6:19.
This is LBC. 22 years. That's how much of your life you spend online. Can you afford to live a quarter of your life unprotected? Now's your chance. Get NordVPN's special offer at nordvpn.com for your online privacy and security. It's simple. Download the NordVPN app, press Quick Connect, and enjoy an extra layer of protection.
To help you travel with confidence on the TfL network, we're cleaning regularly with antiviral disinfectant providing over 1,000 free hand sanitizer stations and frequently circulating fresh air on tubes, buses and trains. To help everyone feel safe, we strongly recommend that you continue to wear a face covering when travelling on our services, unless you are exempt. Thank you for helping to keep yourself and others safe. To the Mayor of London and...
Exit the roundabout onto the Parkway. Continue on the Parkway for 1 mile.
Benefiting from Hiscox Small Business Insurance. Tailored to businesses as unique as yours.
Need a glass of water?
Okay, thanks. When you're a small business owner, hiccups happen. Hiscox's award-winning claims team understand your business, so that when you need us, we can help you keep going. Hiscox, experts in small business insurance.
Not all stories online can be trusted. Some are designed to reel you in with misleading facts, extreme opinions, or even outright lies. So, before you share a story with friends or family online, check. Are there spelling errors? Do images or videos look edited? Do the facts seem believable? Do they come from reliable sources? Don't get caught by false information. Take care with what you share. Visit sharechecklist.gov.uk to find out more.
Get ready because the homestyle crispy chicken is back at McDonald's. A delicious crispy chicken breast, bacon, hot and spicy mayo, and a red onion relish, all inside a glazed poppy and sesame seed bun. Delicious. Tuck in until the 26th of April. Served after 11 a.m. Subject to availability. Only in participating restaurants. See mcdonalds.co.uk/homestyle crispy chicken for details.
Watching a sunset, the sea breeze against your face, discovering new flavors, exploring a new city on foot. That's living, because a life well traveled is a life well lived. This spring, take off with Vueling and discover all our sunny destinations from $25.99. One way. Vueling. We love places. For more information, visit Vueling.com.
The big mobile networks are raising your bills again. What a load of scallops. Like you haven't got enough on your plate with tax rise.
In a quarter of a mile, at Cranford Parkway Interchange, take the second exit onto the M4 slip road to Heathrow Airport, M25.
Next year we won't be raising our prices during your contract. Join us for prices that stay fixed.
This is Supermarket Mobile. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps. To verify, please visit tescomobile.com/fixed prices.
I am sorry. You have progressive memory loss.
When you hear these words, the outlook is bleak. But at Recognition Health, the brain and mind experts, we're working to change that. Volunteer for our clinical studies to receive free access to a new generation medication, as well as comprehensive medical screening. With your help, we can change the future of MCI and Alzheimer's disease.
You have progressive memory loss. But here's what we can do.
Go to brainandmindexperts.com.
This is LBC with David Lammy. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
So I'm devastated at what Will Smith did this week, slapping Chris Rock. It was a devastating, devastating moment because he's a hero. I've respected him.
Exit the roundabout onto the slip road.
The Oscars, I'm thinking of Sidney Poitier.
In a quarter of a mile, merge onto M4.
I spend a lot of my time sending messages to young people never to give in to violence, never to give in to the stereotype that very sadly still dogs people in our society, the stereotypes that sometimes black men have to face. And then this, at this moment of seriousness in the world, a moment that felt to me to be all about Will Smith's ego and his sort of loss of reality. But I want to hear your calls. I want to hear your calls. Those of you that agree with me and take my view, or those of you that think, look, you know, Chris Rock crossed the line. Alopecia is clearly a very serious thing for any woman to be suffering. Many commentators felt that Will was defending his wife. Hard to condone violence, I think, but I want to hear your views. So call me on 0345 6060 973. Let's discuss this issue that's been, I mean, it's upset me and irritated me that it's been so dominant in the news. And by the way, Chris Smith's son Jaden tweeted shortly after this is how we do it. This is not how sort of intergenerational trauma. We do not do it like that. This is not how we do it, by the way. Jade, what is going on in that house? I'm purely defending his dad, but please, this is not how we do it or need to do it. Anyway, taking your calls on 0345 6060973. Jerry in St Albans. Jerry.
Hi.
Hi, Jerry.
David. First time I've spoken to you.
Thanks so much for calling in.
Hey,
Thank you.
it's all right. Look, you know what? Look, I get what he did was wrong, but I mean, how would you feel if you were sitting in an audience and everyone was laughing at your wife as a cheap joke? Because that is what it was. It was a cheap joke. I mean, everyone knew what she had. It wasn't a secret. So he could have picked anybody or done a different type of joke. But why that? Why lower himself to actually aggravate him?
Jerry, I would be mortified. I'd be
But
mortified.
what would you do? So you'd be
I
happy
certainly wouldn't get up
sitting
and
in a-
smack the guy on stage. I mean, I just wouldn't do
I tell you
that.
what, I would.
Oh, come on,
Because
Jerry.
no, yes,
No,
I would.
no,
I
no,
would, yes.
no,
Yes,
no,
no, why? Because so what we're saying is that it is acceptable for somebody
Jerry,
to
no, we're not
mock
saying
somebody.
that. Jerry,
Yes,
Jerry,
we
we're not
are.
saying
We're
that.
saying,
Will
we're
Smith
saying that
could...
that is okay.
Hang on a minute. No, Jerry. Will Smith could have stood up and they both could, and in a dignified way walked out of the ceremony. And then we will be discussing whether that joke was acceptable or not. He could have come back in to accept his award. They could have gone home. It's the violence that's not... And by the way, I've had a text message in... Hang on a minute, Jerry. I've had a text message in whilst you've been on. Paul in Milster says, I watched Will Smith incident with my kids. As bad as the slap was, it was also the bad language that shocked me and my children. The language! The expletives to a global audience was totally unacceptable. Jerry, surely you get that.
Look, I do get that. But why? Why did Chris Rock get to that point? He could have done anything. He went specifically after...
In a quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4.
Would have aggravated him, and that is exactly what he wanted and exactly what he achieved. Yeah? He hurt Chris. He hurt him. And he knew what he was doing. Yeah?
I mean,
all right? Because look, no, that is wrong. We do not mock people.
Keep right to stay on M4.
Audience, laugh at your wife.
Look, I accept that the joke may have crossed the line. The question is the reaction. And I accept it. As my wife, I'd be horrified. But you simply cannot behave. I'm afraid that it's also proportionate. What is proportionate to the joke that's been made? And I don't think it was proportionate. Jerry, thank you for your views. I want to get in Raphael and Stevenage. Raphael, what's your view?
Hello, David.
Hi.
I'm a massive fan of your show.
Well,
And I agree with you with most things, but this one, just picking up on what you advised regarding when you said he has to portray himself, he has to be a role model.
Well, I think to whom much is given, I'm afraid that's the burden. But it's not a bad burden with the millions of pounds that you get as a result.
In that notion, I feel like I just disagree with that completely. I think what he did and how he reacted was completely human, and we can't put this much weight on a person and say because you are who you are, you have to behave in a certain way. You can do whatever you want to do because you're human, and then apologize afterwards. I'm not saying what he did was right, don't get me wrong, but I can't say this, like what he did was completely outrageously bad and everything, because it's a reaction that he reacted, and we just can't say because you're who you are, you can't behave in a certain way. You're a human being.
Hang on. Look, let's just be clear about this. Like, it's violence. You know, why do I say what I say? I've got to pull this down. Why do I say what I say? I say I've been on shows like this over many years and talked about issues like stop and search. And I say that because I was first stopped and searched when I was 12. And
quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4.
Speak properly to them, behave properly, let them do their job, but do not start using expletives, do not behave violently, stay calm and be dignified. As my mother used to say to us, live up to your ancestors' prayers.
Keep right to stay on M4.
So much. Yes, a joke has been made, it's offended his wife. But how can you behave in that
Continue on M4 for 4 miles.
And the slap of a show at this particular moment? I'm sorry, it just cannot be acceptable. And that's why I think it's got to be called out. And I'm surprised you don't agree with me.
I think, okay, so from my perspective, we put this amount of pressure for everyone else to follow a certain person when we know no one is perfect. If you're putting a pressure for us to follow a certain role model, why can't our parents be our role models? I know that the parents is in everybody's life, but it should be a responsibility of who your guardian is to take care of you, to make you a good person. We shouldn't be looking at people who we don't know their full lifestyle, their full history. And Will Smith is an actor, and he's an actor, so he could be acting when he's not on stage, when he's not acting as a job role, he could be acting a persona which we picked off. So that could not be the real him.
Well, I'm afraid a mask came down.
That could be the real Will Smith we saw the other day, and he's been acting his whole life. So we can't put role models on people who we don't know who they are.
Well, that may well be true, but whether we like it or not, it broke my heart what we saw. I hear what you say, but it broke my heart what we saw. I think it made things so much harder for a lot of the young people seeing that and the terrible, crude stereotypes that it played into. Thank you so much for your view. I'm asking what were your views really of Will Smith's actions? Is violence ever the answer? Call me on 0345 6060 973. More of your calls after the break. The time now is 6:32 and it's time for the news with Simon Morgan.
Russian forces retreating from around Kyiv have been accused of creating a catastrophic situation for civilians. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says they've left mines and the bodies of dead comrades behind. Parts of the M20 in Kent have been used as a lorry park after measures were triggered to control the movement of HGVs in Dover. It was because of disruption to cross-channel ferries and bad weather. And Dame Cressida Dix confirmed next Sunday will be her last working day as Metropolitan Police Commissioner. She resigned in February after losing the confidence of London Mayor Sadiq Khan. The weather for this evening, clear skies and staying dry for most areas. A widespread frost forming by dawn with a low of -3. Tomorrow, a dry day for England and Wales. Outbreaks of rain will spread across Scotland and into Northern Ireland by late afternoon with a daytime high of 10 degrees. This is LBC.
Big tasty, please. The big...
In 2 miles, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central.
Big tasty with bacon, an all-new Big Tasty barbecue. 3 big tasties, 1 big decision. Served after 11 a.m. Subject to availability at participating restaurants until the 26th of April.
Crack open some great deals at Morrison's. Like any 3 for $19.99 on your favourite beers and ciders. With over 20 to choose from, like Budweiser, Stella Artois, Strongbow and loads more. Morrison's. Make good things happen. Majority of stores subject to availability. Exclude Scotland and Wales. Please drink responsibly.
30 million people around the world are just like me.
I value knowing that my investments
are all in order.
I value having low fees so I can keep more of my returns. And I value that my investment firm has its clients' best interests at heart.
Join the 30 million investors around the world who value getting Vanguard value.
Took the words
right out of my mouth. Vanguard. Value to investors. When investing, your capital is at risk.
Watching a sunset, the sea breeze against your face, discovering new flavors, exploring a new city on foot. That's living, because a life well traveled is a life well lived. This spring, take off with Vueling and discover all our sunny destinations from $25.99. One way. Vueling. We love places. For more information, visit vueling.com.
Do your teeth stop you from smiling and eating? Do you hate the thought of false teeth? Talk to TDC about Smile in a Day dental implants. TDC Smile in a Day dental implants look and work just like real TDC restore your teeth and your smile. Book your consultation today. Visit smileinaday.co.uk.
It's time to celebrate this April with a new offer every day only on the McDonald's app. That's 30 days, 30 plays. Download the app and tap to play for today's offer.
In a quarter of a mile, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central.
The big mobile networks are raising your bills again. What a load of scallops. Like you haven't got enough on your plate with tax rises, gas rises, and everything else rises. At Tesco Mobile, we think this is utter...
Exit at junction 6.
Like last year, we won't be raising our prices during your contract. Join us for prices that stay fixed.
This is Supermarket Mobile.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the third exit onto Tuns Lane, A355.
David Lammy on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Taking your calls on Will Smith's slap, and I want to hear from you if you agree with me that he did wrong. My mother used to say, live up to your ancestors' prayers, and my God, he didn't live up to them at that moment. So if you share my view, I'd love to hear from you on 0345 6060 973, because a lot of people are actually wanting to defend Will Smith. Obviously, want to hear from you as well. Michael in Kilburn. Michael.
Exit the roundabout onto Tuns Lane.
To be honest, I don't think we can defend that at all, if I'm honest. When you look at what happened, we say, oh, joking about his wife. Chris Rock didn't mention anything about alopecia. He compared her to G.I. Jane, who, from what I'm hearing, is actually very beautiful.
In a quarter of a mile, slight left towards Sippenham Lane.
She'd also put her hair and, what, her look into the public domain. It wasn't as if this was some sort of, you're right, G.I. Jane, this was Demi Moore that played that character, wasn't it? It was beautiful. You're quite right to make that point.
You see, and when I look at that, I look at it like that. If the joke was bad, everyone, you would get a reaction from the crowd. The joke was good, yeah. And even Will Smith himself laughed. But then looking at her...
Slight left towards Sippenham Lane.
Oh no, it's not going to be good for me when I leave this place and go home. I need to do something very drastic. And that tells me how toxic their relationship is.
Continue for 1.5 miles.
We'll say, do you know what sort of guy this is? He a pimp. Look at how he controls his woman. With just a look, he makes her do crazy things. And that's exactly what's happened, but the other way around.
Look, I mean, I don't know what's going on inside their relationship. I have known in the past that she's confessed to having a relationship with a young man while she's been married. I always think this stuff is very unseemly. Keep your relationship in the kitchen. Keep it at home. Please, let's not have it played out in front of a global this is the biggest show in the world. It's just so utterly unseemly. I just can't get over it, Michael. Michael, thank you for calling in. Thank you for your views. Anita in Streatham. Anita.
Hi, David. It's so lovely to speak to you. Now, I am a big fan of Will Smith. I grew up with him, so did my children. But I can absolutely condemn what he did. I mean, the people that are phoning up in support of him, would they be supporting him if he had done that to a woman? That would have been a totally different kettle of fish.
I'd like to believe that he would never have done that. I'd just like to believe he would never. I'm not sure he would have done it if it was Ricky Gervais, or who makes some very, very below-the-line jokes. With James Corden. I don't think he would have done that.
History, I don't know, but I'm just thinking, if there was some comedian woman who was presenting the show and said that, he would never have done that in a million years, because he knew that his reputation and his career would have been gone, just like that.
I mean, the point is, a couple of weeks back, I was discussing on the show Jimmy Carr's horrendous joke, in my view, about people who have a Gypsy Roma Traveller background.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We live in a world where We can discuss the joke. We can debate the joke. Or did it cross a line? Is it acceptable? Was it at the expense? And the view here is the expense. We heard powerfully at the beginning of the show from Layla. At the expense of women who have at it. And let's discuss the joke. And I'm not saying that Will Smith isn't entitled to a reaction to the joke. You know, get up, stand up, walk out. You know, you can make
it. Yeah, exactly. I never knew that his wife had alopecia until this occurred.
But the reaction, this violence, and it was just the way that it was absolutely. Like that it was like an inside thing, this violent slap, and then the expletives, the swearing. You know, it was. This is so unbecoming of the occasion. It's like this brawl that you're suddenly exposed to. Children are watching. People have stayed up to watch it, and they're hearing this language and seeing this behaviour. I mean, I'm sorry. I feel like I can hear my mother in my. You can hear my grandmother. It's just I'm so offended. I'm so upset by it that he behaved like this.
If he had reacted, then oh my God, it just would have been unbelievable to watch and witness. And like we say, with children watching as well. These people, you know, these stars, these celebrities, they need to be an example to everybody else. People look up to them.
I think they do, particularly when this is a moment where you're being honoured, you're being paid so much. You've done a great job, you're being honoured. My word, I'm afraid how he, you know, and I'm not, you know, we're all human. We all make mistakes. I've made mistakes in my life, but this is a man in his 50s, by the way. We're not talking about a 24-year-old actor. Earlier on in this show, I heard from a 24-year-old young man who is doing a tremendous job by his parents who are struggling with cost of living. This is not a young man. This is a man in his 50s behaving in this way. Anita, thank you so much for calling in. Laura in Tunbridge Wells. Laura.
Hi, and thanks for having me. So, firstly, I think that you're paying too much attention to the reaction as opposed to what triggered the reaction. So, the fact of the matter is it was a very, very distasteful joke, but what makes it even worse was that it was targeted at one individual in the audience, which is isolating, embarrassing, and humiliating. When that happens to somebody that you love and care for, then your reaction might be unprecedented and perhaps not as planned as that you would have done, but you act in the moment. And whilst I don't condone violence and I don't ultimately condone what Will Smith did, at the time he was obviously exceptionally passionate about what had been said about somebody that he loves and cares for, and he reacted in the way he did. I think, as you just said to the caller previously, we all do make mistakes.
In 300 yards, turn left onto Buckingham Avenue.
But the bottom line is, and the root cause of this, was that joke was